Hello there, Internet. Well, it is that time again. I recently bought a new computer because I needed an upgrade, and this has sort of pushed me towards the inevitable, inescapable needing to move to the latest Windows operating system. In that case, that is Windows 11 for me. Now, I've been kind of avoiding moving in that direction. I'm not really an early adopter of operating systems, just because I don't like to have to be the one who has to, find all the problems when they first roll something out. But this operating system's been around for a little while, so I'm now somewhat begrudgingly going to install it. In anticipation of doing that, I went ahead and ran through a few Windows 11 installations on my VirtualBox. That's just sort of a little practice I've gotten into now whenever I'm going to have to do this, just so I can get a sense of what the installation process is like and how I want to ultimately install it on my new machine. And when I did that this time, I noticed, my goodness, Windows 11 has so much overreach, in my opinion. They they have so many things that they are kind of forcing upon you as a consumer of this product. I don't like that Microsoft seems to be taking a lot of their beats from Apple, or maybe just all of the big tech is doing this now. But there's just a lot there, and so I've gone ahead and figured out ways to kind of minimize the amount of, well, frankly, just crap that they want to put on this operating system when you first install it. And it took me a minute to kind of figure that out. A lot of this is like not at all obvious. And so I figured, you know what? I went ahead and I spent the time. I figured out how I wanted to configure this. Maybe somebody else out there in the world would actually benefit from this as well. So I'm making this recording. So I'm just going to walk through the entire installation process. Don't worry, I'm not going to make you sit there and watch the slow loading bar. I will zip through the parts where it's just like installing things. But I'm going to walk through all of the configuration I'm going to do, and there's basically three, arguably only two, but three things that I was going to spend some time showing you how you can configure if you're going through a Windows 11 install and you would like it to not be just full of a ton of garbage you probably don't need. And so the first one being that if you want to make a Windows 11 from when you're first installing it, have a local account. And what I mean by that is if you don't want to have a Microsoft account just to have your operating system. If you don't want the Microsoft, Big Brother constantly tracking every single thing you do, which is apparently what they want you to do off, that's really what they want you to do. If you don't like that, there's a way around it. It's just not intuitive. The other thing is I'm going to show you how to run some scripts when you very first get the install done, and that'll just wipe away a whole bunch of the bloat that just kind of comes with Windows. All right, so with all that said, here it is. I've gone ahead, I've just got this going for VirtualBox right now. I apologize for it being a little bit stretched out. That's just how it looks initially when you're doing the installation. I will clean that up here in a minute. But for now, at least, we're just going to go ahead and I'm going to click next. And yeah, I'm just running this through a Windows ISO that the free one that you get online. So here we go, next. Install now, of course. And here we go. All right, the very first thing that I'm going to have to deal with now is the activate Windows. I don't have a product key, and for this, I'm just gonna skip this. So I guess maybe that's worth noting. You don't really have to buy the Windows operating system. Just in case you didn't know that, it's actually you can get the ISO for free. You can actually build your own, free version of it. This is not like illegal in any way. It's like they completely you can download it from the Microsoft website. Uh, so you don't actually have to do this. I certainly am not going to do it for my little, fake walkthrough here. So you can always just click on the I don't have a product key for now. And for my purposes, I don't care. Um, I think I'm just going to pick the Pro. I'm sure so many people use Windows 11 Home. For my purposes, I do a fair bit of tech work. Pro is nice. Really, I think the main big benefit to using Pro that I know about is really the ability for you to have your computer be able to receive a connection through remote desktop. I think that's one of the main differences that I actually care about. The rest of them, I genuinely don't know. I think it really just boils down to like theming and stuff. But that's just me. I don't know. And yes, yes, the terms and license, always a fun thing to click on. I'm going to click on custom. Now I'm just going to have one partition. When you get done, it'll create a whole bunch of partitions for you, and it'll just do that for yourself. I don't need that. I'm not trying to do anything else. Although if you ever get to the screen and you don't know what this means, it's basically asking you how much of all of the hard drive space you have on your computer, or have on your your hard drive, would you like to set aside specifically for Windows? And so, if you were doing something fancy like dual booting or something, like you wouldn't want to give the entire hard drive to Windows. You would want to have only a portion of it for Windows, and the rest of it you could give to some other thing. I'm just for this little VM, I'm just going to give it all there. And as you can see, I've only allocated 80 gigs anyway, so it's not a big deal. That's what this is all about. I'm just going to click next and let the copying begin. This is going to take a minute, so I will zip through this, and you don't have to wait around too long. Okay, so now that it has completed all that fun stuff, we can get to the actual installation. So the very first thing this is going to ask for is what country or region you're in. I'm in the US, so here we go. All right, is this the right keyboard layout? Yep. It's asking about a second keyboard layout. I don't have any need for this, so I'm going to just skip it. Okay, so now that we've done that, we can name our device. So basically what this is asking for is what you want your computer to be called for the purposes of like networking. For my silly little thing, I'm going to name it something, just really easy. So I'm going to say like, I don't know, and we're going to click next. If you don't put one in here, it will, I think, default one in there. I encourage you to name your computer something unique and meaningful to you, because there's a good chance you probably will eventually need to see it on a network, and you don't want it to just be something generic that you have no idea it's actually your computer. Okay, so now we finally arrive at, I think, a tip or trick for not having to do an annoying thing. So it's asking if this computer is going to be for personal or work use. Obviously, the way I'm setting this up is going to be for personal use. I'm pretty sure if you set it up for work or school, it's going to actually redirect you to set up an email account associated with that organization. If you do it this way, the idea is it's going to try to make you use a Microsoft account, but we're going to get around that. So yes, as you can see, the very first thing it wants you to do now is sign in to a Microsoft account. Now this is what I was mentioning earlier. This seems to be the very kind of big brothery thing that Microsoft is really into nowadays. They make it seem as though you really have no choice but to do this, even though you kind of don't need to. If you do create a Microsoft account, then everything related to the operating system after it gets installed will be tied to that account. And that feels very much like they're tracking me, and I don't like that. So that's the reason why I kind of had to figure out a way around this. So you can click sign in, and then it's going to prompt you for signing in. With the understanding that if you already have a Microsoft account, then that's what you'll like naturally want to just punch in here. Sadly, there doesn't appear to be any way for you to literally just say, I don't want to do this. And this is the part where I think that they're being pretty shady, frankly, like that they're making it seem as though there's no way around this. But there is. The way around having to create the account is the easiest way without having to go into the command prompt is to actually just make up a fake one. Now, the one that I have been using and I've noticed that the internet likes to use is this one is my favorite one. Is you just say no at thank you .com, right? It doesn't really matter what you put in here as long as it's an actual account that doesn't exist. It will attempt to do this and it's going to fail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit next. And now it's going to ask me for the password for no thank you. It doesn't matter what you punch in here because it's not a real account and it's definitely not going to find this password. I'm just going to use the number 1. It doesn't matter. Oops, something went wrong. Okay, so this is exactly what you want because it's basically saying we couldn't find that. That's not a real account. And then when you can't find the real account, it's going to now actually create a local account, right? And this is what we want. We don't want it to make a Microsoft account. This will actually create an account that's literally just to the local operating system, which is how Windows has worked for many, 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 many years up until I think this is Windows 11 is the first time that they decided that they were going to try to make everyone tie their their login to a Microsoft account. So I'm just going to call this something silly. I'm going to go with like, I don't know, uh, test. We'll say next. And my password, I'm going to come up with a really super great password, 123. All right, and then it's going to make you come up with some security questions. For your personal computer, this is a good idea to pick something meaningful. For my fake little thing that I'm doing right now, I'm just going to keep on putting in 123 for everything. But I don't endorse you doing this for your real computer. This really would potentially be useful to you if you ever forgot your password and you needed to have the operating system help you figure it out. This is kind of their system for doing that. Okay, so the next thing it's going to ask you for is privacy settings. Now, I think I've kind of made it clear that I am not a huge fan of having Microsoft know much of anything about me for just using an operating system on my local machine, but you may feel differently about that. So my tact when I get to this page is basically to unclick everything, but I will quickly go through what these are about. The location is exactly what it's sounding like. You're basically letting Microsoft know where you like live, like geographically in the world. And there are some services and tools that they can leverage to take advantage of that. And I think Find My Device is actually one of them, so I don't want that either. But you might want it. The diagnostic data is basically saying they're asking you, can we just keep track of pretty much everything that you do, and then send that data over to Microsoft like on a regular basis? There are lots of reasons why I don't like to do this from just sort of a privacy perspective, but frankly, I don't want them to track me like that. To be able to figure out what I am doing and any problems I have, they have to track all the things that aren't having problems. So personally, I'm not a fan of that. Inking and typing. So basically, what this is doing is if you when you're typing on your keyboard, or even if you're writing, like so, a lot of times people have tablets and they can write with like a virtual pen. If you do that and you leave this on, you're basically giving them permission to keep track of everything that you type and everything that you draw. And that way it can make recommendations to you about what your primary language is and like corrections on speech patterns and basically learn how you communicate so that it can make suggestions to you. Again, a little bit big brothery for me. I don't really care that you keep track of that, Microsoft. Tailored experience is basically kind of like for Microsoft specifically, they want to know what kind of ads they put in front of you. And this is definitely the turn that Microsoft is taking that I'm not a huge fan of, where they're basically putting ads in the operating system in front of you. It used to be that you at least had to go to a website or something to get advertised to. Those days are gone apparently. Now the operating system itself will literally advertise to you. And what this is basically asking is, can we like keep track of the kind of stuff that you do when you're using your computer and use that as the basis for why we put a certain ad in front of you or why we make certain suggestions to you? And that's what it'll do. It also will help supposedly help you when you're doing certain kinds of tasks and it notices that you use certain kinds of tools, and it might say, hey, did you know you can do this with the tool, or you can do this with the tool? It's basically like learning your behaviors and then making recommendations to you about how to make use of the things that the operating system offers. I could see why somebody might like that. Personally, I don't really want that. Again, I just don't like them keeping track of me, so I would be no. And then the last one is advertising ID, which might seem a little bit like it's saying the same thing for, for that and tailored experience. I think the main difference here is that the tailored experience is meant for Microsoft, and the advertising ID is meant for basically anybody. So every time you download an app through like the Microsoft Store that might have been built by not Microsoft, some other third party developer, this ID, if you say yes here, is basically letting those apps keep track of you, kind of similar to how like a cookie would work on a browser website, so that it has like it can collect unique information. Each app can keep their own personal information about you, and then that's how they can do their own personalized advertising to you, much the same way that Microsoft is hoping you'll say yes to this as well, and then they can keep track of stuff. So like this whole thing, it really boils down to just like how much you want Microsoft and other companies to basically monitor all the activity you do on your computer, so that they can basically, advertise things, or try to send you messages that are specific to you and the kind of work you do. Personally, again, I think this is all very big brother. I don't want to deal with it, so I say no to everything. Okay, so now that we have gone through the whole setup process, you can see we're here on the home screen of the operating system. So congratulations, you've done the kind of laborious installation portion where you sit around and wait around for the files to be copied to the place it needs to go. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to install I'm actually going to run a script that's going to remove a lot of the bloat. Now, one of the things you'll notice on the computer when you first get it is it has a whole bunch of stuff that it just gives you, which is very annoying. And if you click on the start menu, you're going to see a whole bunch of stuff that you maybe don't even want. So here's Clipchamp, Camo Studio, Spotify, LinkedIn, Outlook. Right? There's a bunch of stuff, and there's actually even more stuff in here. Here's your Xbox Control Center. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here that the operating system just sort of assumes that you're going to want. And there's more than what's just listed here in this pin section. There's even more. Personally, I think that's all a lot of stuff you don't need. So for this next section, I'm going to show you a neat little script. There's lots of them out there, but this one's I've ran on my own. And I'm going to run it right now just to show you how it works. That will clean it up for you. Before I do that, though, I'm actually going to do a quick thing to my virtual box so this gets out of this kind of crazy view where everything's stretched out. I'm going to go ahead and just now that I have it actually installed, put a little add-in that will make it render nicer on the computer. So I'm going to give it a little pause and I'll come right back. Okay, so all I did now is I just got the window resized so that it actually looks like a real desktop in full screen mode. Couldn't do that for the VirtualBox until I got everything installed. First things first, go to the Start menu right here. You can notice right away, like I was saying last time, everything, all this stuff is pinned, and that's not great. But the other thing that I didn't talk about was this yet. So if you click into the search, right away, as soon as you do that, it starts advertising to you. Now you can see right here all of this stuff. It's near the holidays, so I'm getting a bunch of holiday junk, right? But this is just like a bunch of junk. I don't want that. It's basically connected to Bing right away. Oh, look, and you can even start searching with AI. That's scary, right? So there's a bunch of stuff there that I don't want all of this every time I open up search. When I open up search, I'm just trying to look for something on my computer. I'm not trying to search the internet. Now, some people like that. Me personally, I'm not a huge fan. The other thing I'll mention really quick is preloaded. This is a nice, easy way to just see what you're getting without your knowing about it. Maybe if you go over to their store, you can click on the little store icon there at the bottom, and if you come in here to load this up, if you go down over here to the left-hand side, this thing that says Library, I'm going to click on that. And that's just going to show me all of the apps that have already been installed. Again, this is a fresh installation. I haven't done anything. I haven't installed anything myself. This is just the stuff it has. And look what it's already got on here. This is the laundry list of stuff that it just puts onto your computer, whether you want it or not. So I got things in here like Clipchamp, Microsoft News, MSN Weather, Xbox, Tips. I don't know what that is. Cortana. I do not want Cortana. I don't want their little like assistant thingy. Office 3, Microsoft Office 365. They got some Microsoft People. I don't know what that is. Photos. Some of this isn't too bad. Yeah, Windows Maps. More Xbox stuff. Phone Link. Xbox Identity Provider. Don't even know what that is. Media player, movies. So there's a bunch of junk in here that I straight up don't need. Like I just don't I don't want it. I don't need it. And it's frankly just kind of annoying that it's there. So I want that to go away. And you could go through each one of those and individually delete them all. There's some other little things like, oh, I don't know, if you go over here, I'm not a huge fan of their new menu, their context menu. So I right clicked on the desktop just to get this to show up. But let's just say I wanted to create like a new document, right? Well, by doing that, notice by the default, and this has actually been true in Windows for a super long time. This isn't like a Windows 11 thing. It doesn't show you the file extension, which is really, really annoying. And if you're a developer like me, like you need, and you're working in Windows, like that file extension is literally how your programs know what files do, like what files are associated with different programs. So not knowing, having that extension visible and just always relying on the operating system to tell you is I don't know, annoying to me. So I want to show the file extensions. Also, if you right click on documents like this, they change the context menu so that you're no longer the copy and paste and all that stuff isn't even here. Instead, they made these little icons at the top. I don't know if this is terrible, but I'm kind of not used to that, and these don't seem overly intuitive to me, so I'd rather not have that. And then finally, it's kind of hard to demonstrate, but there is a service running by default called telemetry. Telemetry is something that Windows has had around for a while. It's basically a tool that is constantly running. It's like a process that's constantly running on your operating system that's just checking diagnostic information and periodically sending some of it back to Microsoft. Now, I know we clicked the button that said not to do that, but the service is still running. And again, that's one of those things where even if you didn't care about it basically tracking everything that you're doing, you might care that that thing is eating up some of your CPU and your memory at all times while it's running. So I don't really want that turned on. So the point I'm making here is that there's a bunch of stuff that I don't like. Like I'm sounding like an old grumpy guy here, I guess. And I want it all to go away. I'm gonna try to do that in one big move, and I'm gonna use a neat little tool to do that. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over here to Microsoft Edge, and I'm gonna go ahead and just find a website. And I'm gonna tell you what the website is right now. You're gonna go to, oh yeah, and now it's gonna make me set here, get it in. They want me to sign into something. So no, I don't want to have start without your data. Yeah, no data. I don't want you to bring in anything. Great. Like I literally can't even go to the web without this. Good grief. Sign into Google. No, don't need it. I don't want to do that. Please stop asking me these questions. I just want to go to my browser. Okay, so there's that. I can get rid of this extra tab that it's trying to open. All right, and this is the site I really want to go to. HTTPS. We're going to go to github.com. And the one that I like, there's actually a lot of kind of what they call like debloating scripts and stuff that have been developed by folks. But this is the one I like. It's from a user named Raphael. And he has a little thing called Win11 Debloat. And like I said, there's a few of them out there. This one actually is pretty good. It's got a lot of stars, so a lot of folks have used this. I've run this a couple times, and I like the way it was set up. It clearly, some time it was spent on it. And basically what this is a PowerShell script that this group, or maybe one person, multiple people put together, that will basically just remove a whole bunch of stuff that you don't probably want. Now, instead of it just being like kind of a push the button and it'll just do it, you can actually customize it, and you can run through this script, and it'll let you pick the things you want to keep the way they already are, or what you want to remove. So I really like that. All the directions for how to use it are here, but I'm just going to walk through how to do it because I think it might be easy just to see it happen. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the code tab here, and I'm just going to download this as a zip. So I'm going to click download. Right, and it downloads it onto the computer. I'm going to go ahead and just open it up. Okay, and this is a zip folder. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this, and I'm going to say extract all. Right, and here's the thing: the extraction I've noticed is it's going to create a whole new folder for it, but then the folder is going to be inside of another folder. So I'm actually just going to do that, and that way it'll literally only give me the thing I want, and extract. And then it opens it up. I love that. Okay, and now this is the zip one. I know it's hard to tell, but there's a little zipper icon on it right there. And this is the one that it just extracted. And here's all of the stuff I want. So here's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to go back. And I'm going to, again, here you have to do this special thing, cut. I'm going to get out of here. And I'm just going to paste it on the desktop. I think that's it. Is that how I do it? Good grief. Okay, yeah, that is super unintuitive to me. And I don't need this anymore. Okay, so this is where the script lives. Okay, and then the instructions actually tell you exactly how to do this. And in fact, if I bring them back up, it'll tell you how to go about using this. I'm going to do a custom installation, right, a custom configuration. I'm not going to just do the quick and easy one. All right, so here's the easy method. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do the advanced method. Okay, so it said to go ahead and download the version of the script. Did that. I'm going to open up PowerShell. Okay, so the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to go to this little start menu right here, and I'm going to go ahead and start typing PowerShell. Okay, that's going to bring up this guy right here. Okay, and this is just the shell that Microsoft has developed, and it's really the main one that you should probably always use for doing anything in Microsoft nowadays. The old CMD has kind of long since been abandoned, but you can still get to it. I'm going to right click on the Windows PowerShell match that came up, and I'm going to run it as administrator. And you're going to need to do this because you're going to actually tell the shell to do some. You need the shell to be able to run some scripts that are going to actually change stuff on the computer, and that's why you have to do it this way. All right, so here it goes, and there we go. Okay, so now here we are. We're in PowerShell, and we're in administrator mode. You can see it right there because it says administrator. All right, and then the next thing it's going to have me do is I'm going to run this little command right here, and this is basically telling PowerShell, hey, when you run PowerShell scripts, go ahead and just do it by default. And this is a good thing. I'm glad that Microsoft finally fixed this a few years back. It used to be that Windows was very permissive. It would just let you run scripts willy-nilly, and the operating system didn't really interfere with that. It just assumed, oh, if you have a script, go for it. They stopped doing that a long time ago because that's a big security problem. They kind of borrowed that mentality from, I think, the Linux universe, which is great. But that just means that then if you want to actually put together you want to run a script like this that's going to do a lot of stuff, you have to kind of tell the operating system, hey, I'm cool with that happening. And that's how I'm going to do it. So this is the command right here. I'm just going to type it in right here. I'm going to say set execution policy. It's going to take a second for the autocomplete to catch up, I think. There it goes. All right, and then we'll say unrestricted, great, scope, and then the last thing is process, and go. And it's going to say, are you sure this helps protect you from bad things happening? I'm letting you know right now. I mean, this is always a good idea to do your own research on this sort of stuff, but I have already, vetted this script a few times, so I feel good about it. I'm going to click yes, go ahead. Okay, great. So now, from going forward, if I run scripts through like a PowerShell script, it'll just do it. It won't block it from happening. Clear that out now. Okay, so that was the second thing I had, or the third thing. Now in PowerShell, I need to navigate to the place where I put that folder. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll go over here. I put it on the desktop, so I'm just going to go over to, first off, I'm going to just get to the root, and then I'm going to say users. I think the name I came up with this was test. There we go. And then it's going to be on the desktop. And then I think the name was like win something or other. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so now I'm over there. I've navigated to it. And if that was seemed like magic to you, here, I'm going to minimize that. That's basically all I did was I changed where I was on this command prompt to inside of this folder. So if you click on the folder, you can actually kind of see this for yourself. You just go into the folder and you click right here. That's where I am right now. That's where the folder is. C, users, test, desktop, win 11, bloat, master. Okay. So if you go back over to the command prompt, you can see that's exactly where I am. C, users, test. So I've navigated. This command prompt is now living in the same spot as this folder. Okay, which is what the directions wanted me to do. All right. Now enter in this PowerShell. So basically now it's telling me run the script. Just run the script, and the script is pretty sweet. It'll actually walk you through what it's about to do. So the script is called win11dbloat.ps1. ps1 is the extension that for PowerShell scripts. Okay, so this is not nothing devious or weird happening here. I'm going to hit enter, and now it's telling me it's still doing this, which is I think is kind of funny. Even though I told it was okay to do this, it's still saying, "Hey, are you really sure you want to do this?" And I'm going to say, "Yes, I sure do." Run once. R for run once. Okay, so now we're running the script. Okay, the script, like I said, it's pretty nice put together. It'll actually let you do it in a couple different ways. The first way is to just run the default. So if I push one right now, it's literally just gonna run the whole thing, and that's basically that's sort of what it's calling the easy method. That's what all of this will do. And it'll just and there's some default stuff that it'll do if you run it that way. So selecting the default settings will, and it's just telling you this is all the stuff it's going to do. I would like to be a little bit more prescriptive about what I want it to do. So I'm going to go ahead and run two, right, which is a custom debloater, if you will. So I'll hit enter. Okay, so now it's going to ask me step by step, what are all the things you want to do? So do you want to remove the pre-installed bloatware apps? And what by that, what it means is, if you come over here, it's telling you that there's some bloatware junk that they know about that come with the operating system. It's actually from this list. And this is all the stuff that they've identified as just junk that you probably don't need, right? And we saw some of this. You saw some of this when we were looking at the apps in the App Store. So it's basically just going to knock out all of that. And it's going to knock out anything like here that's a third-party thing. This is not even a Microsoft thing. Some of this will be here, some of it won't, but the script doesn't care. It's a pretty comprehensive list of a bunch of stuff that it's going to just try to get rid of for you. And I'm cool with that. So I'm going to go back over here, and I'm going to say, sure, get rid of all that. I don't need it. Yes. Okay. Now it's even giving me some options. Don't remove communication related apps. So some of the apps are communication related and some of them are not. So there's three in particular, or four in particular: Mail, Calendar, People, and Outlook. And that would be all of them. It's also letting me pick if I just want to remove Mail, Calendar, and People, or remove Outlook, or just Windows. I mean, you can kind of pick whichever you want. I'm going to have it get rid of all of them. I don't need any of that. So I'm going to say one, remove everything. Okay. Also remove all gaming related apps such as Xbox app and the Xbox game bar. I don't personally want that on my computer. You might very well be like, no, I want that because I want to be able to link my Xbox to this PC, and that might be a good idea for you, in which case you would click no here. I don't want that, so I'm going to click yes. Go ahead and remove it. Remove all pinned apps from the start menu. So you remember when I first clicked that start menu and there was just all that junk showing up there? I don't want to see any of that. I don't want you to just automatically pin Spotify for me. So I'm going to click yes. Again, if you want to see all that, just say no and you're fine. It'll leave it alone. Here's the telemetry thing I was talking about. Like I said, whether you picked to have I think it called it a tailored experience or not, it's still running the telemetry. It's still like collecting data, and I don't know exactly, eating up your CPU basically with it. And it does it like periodically, so it can be really annoying to have it on. So I really don't want that on. So I'm going to click yes and turn it off. Basically, I'm disabling it. So that's what this script is going to do. It's going to literally go into that as a service and remove it, or I think just turn it off at least. I don't want Bing search. So that was what you saw when we were opening up the start menu and I started searching, and it started to just do like searches on the internet and pulling up like ads and stuff. Like I don't need any of that. I also don't want Cortana, which is their little like personal assistant thing. I don't really need. I've never used it. I don't need it. So no, thank you. It's just eating up CPU. Disable the tips and tricks suggestions. Yeah, I don't need any of that. I don't want like tips and tricks. Copilot. Copilot is AI basically. Microsoft has their own AI service, specifically as a developer, as a software developer. Copilot is basically their AI tool that developers can use to write code. They've clearly now expanded that such that they're trying to integrate it into the actual operating system so that you can basically do little prompts on all kinds of stuff while you're running, and then AI will be like doing stuff. That is way invasive. You're now basically asking the operating system to constantly connect with an LLM somewhere on the cloud and be making all sorts of recommendations and decisions to you. So maybe I'm just an alarmist or something. I am not in love with the idea of my operating system constantly being tracked by large language model and being, fed information and then retrieving that information and learning about me. So that's a big no. I don't want that. So yes, please remove Copilot. I don't need it there. I personally like the old context menu. I know I was complaining about that. You may very well be like, no, that new one looks great. I'm gonna learn the new thing. But if you want to be an old fart like me, you can go, yes, please restore it back to the way it was. I could also make it so that the taskbar and related services, you know, look like how they have in the past. So I'm gonna hit yes. I'd like that too. I'm just like an old person who just wants everything to look the same, I guess. I also, and again, I don't really like it in the center. I think that this one really is 100% just my personal preference. I don't like that everything is centered in the middle of the screen. That just feels weird to me. I get that that one is 100% an aesthetic thing that maybe I should just get with the times, but I don't care. If you can let me put it back the way I want it, great. And then let's see here. Oh yeah, and there's some options for what things can be moved to the left. So you can actually just move the search bar. You can move the taskbar there. You can like leave some stuff in the middle and some stuff to the center. I mean, some stuff in the center and some stuff off to the left. I'm just gonna move it all. Oh, and actually now this is asking about the taskbar and the search bar. So this thing right here, you can have the search there, and you can have it have this little icon and with holiday recipes apparently, which I think changes periodically. And it has like a little label that says search and a little icon. I don't really need any of that. I like a very minimalistic sort of opening, so I'm just gonna say hide everything. I don't want you to. I don't want to see it all. So I want number one here, which is basically hide the search icon from the taskbar. Like I don't need that search bar there. If I want to search, I'll just hit the window key and and start searching. I don't need it to like. I don't have to like click on something to do it. Again, very aesthetic, like kind of personal, subjective thing there. You might very well pick a different option. That's just how I roll. I'm gonna hide the task view. I don't even think there. Oh, there is the task view is this thing on the left. And you see if you hover over it, this is what happens. You get this thing that shows up. They want you to sign in. It'll show a bunch of like kind of advertisements and things to you if you want. Again, not something I'm really interested in. So no thank you. So go ahead and yes, please hide that. Disable the widgets. The widget service is that thing I told you about where it's basically like showing you like advertisements basically based and they kind of like position them on the screen in various places. I don't want that. And the Meet chat, that's this thing down here, this little icon that said chat I was talking about earlier. If you want to keep it there, you can. I don't want it. You can see I'm basically I'm removing everything. Do you want to make any changes to the Windows Explorer? I sure do. I sure do. I want to show the hidden files. So if your operating system has hidden files, by default they remain hidden. So if you ever are navigating around on your file system, like in here, if there's a hidden folder in here, you literally won't see it. You would have to actually change it, and there are ways you can do it through the manually through the operating system that'll make it so you can actually see the hidden folders. But personally, or you can just click this yes button here and it'll do it for you. So yeah, great. Again, file extensions. I want to see those file extensions. So yes, please. And also, I don't want to see duplicate stuff in the menu. So if you come over here, you'll notice there is some duplicate. So sometimes, like when you'll plug in like a USB drive, for instance, you'll see the USB show up here like as its own icon, and then it'll also be under the this PC, which is kind of weird and sometimes a little confusing. I don't really want to see that. I'd rather just only be one of them and not see like duplicates. So yeah, goodbye. And there it was. And so that was all the selections that I was allowed to make through the script. It's basically asking me now, hey, if you hit a key now, I'm just going to say, great, we're doing it, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And it's going to go ahead and start removing all of the things that I don't want on this computer from the computer. As soon as this thing gets done, I will navigate back over to the desktop, and then you guys can kind of see what it did, and kind of hopefully see all of the things that got reconfigured for you very quickly. So this is happening. This would have been a lot of navigating around and clicking on things and like waiting for things to happen and having to do research. So this script is pretty nice, pretty nice. I'm just gonna go ahead and let it play through, and then we'll resume as soon as it's done. Okay, so the script has finished. I can press any key now and it will stop. It's taking a sweet time to do that apparently. But while it's doing that, it's occurring to me that my video capture is probably blocking some of what needs to be seen here. So I'm going to actually do a little bit of repositioning of how this is set up for just a moment. So just briefly, I'm going to minimize this. So let's see if I go to like that. There we go. And I just want folks to be able to see what happened here, even in the virtual box. So you can see that over on the left hand, unfortunately, I wish I noticed that before it ran the script, all this stuff got moved over to the far left, right? So this is all here now. Also, the little chat, I guess you didn't see that before, but the little chat is no longer there. And this is still here though. Let's minimize that. Oh yeah, and this is still hanging around. I'm a little surprised it's not going away. That's kind of surprising. That could just be the... Oh, there it goes. And now it's done, and I can exit that. Okay. So all of that happened. Now let's go back over to the store. Okay. And this is just something you can kind of do to confirm for yourself that it did the things it said it was going to do. Right? And so if we look at this list now, it's going to be a much smaller list. So there are things in here like paint and stuff that are still there, but you'll notice that a lot of the things, it's a much shorter list. It doesn't go down nearly as far. A lot of things have been removed. And really the things that the kind of the community that has contributed to that script identified as, no, this is stuff that people might actually need, like Notepad and the camera and stuff like that. Yeah, we'll leave that there. Paint's still there, right? But a lot of stuff has been removed, which is great. We're going to go ahead and just close that. These have been moved off to the left. If I go, notice how if I hit start now, I get this, all that pin stuff is gone, right? If I click on search, it's just letting me search now. No more with the advertisements showing up here as I go. I can create a file. Look, and here's the old context menu that I wanted. Folder, right? Or I can pick a new text document, and look what I can see now, the file extension. It's new text document .txt, which is what I like, right? If I double click on it, I get this. This is the notepad still opens up, right? But then if I, let's say, want to right click on it and do something, hey, here's copy and paste just like I'm used to. Copy, cut, all that is still here. The menu that I've come to know and love for my whole time working on with Windows is back to where it wants to be, right? So basically, it did all the things that I wanted to do, and it did a couple things behind the scenes that are kind of hard to demonstrate here, but are also available. So that's pretty much it. That was really the main stuff I wanted to talk about. This is how you can get your Windows 11 installed and configured kind of in a minimalistic way. Of course, if you want any of those apps that it removed, you can just go in and install them yourself. I mean, that's kind of what this is for. So if you go back into the store and you're like, man, I really wanted to have the Spotify app or whatever, right? Like you could just go to the apps and then just do it yourself, and it's just giving you control. So if I wanted Spotify, right, like I could search for it in their tool, and there's Spotify, right, and I can just go get it myself. The point here is that having that stuff just kind of put on your computer without you really having a lot of choice in the matter is kind of crummy. This just lets you be more selective about what you have on your computer. So hopefully you found this helpful. I know I'm going to probably be doing a similar setup on my computer once I get it actually plugged in, but I wanted to share what I had discovered with you in hopes that maybe that would be helpful to you as well. All right, well, thanks for watching, and have a good one.